Hey everyone, I'm Clefect, and today we are going to make the Piglet of April. The last Piglet for a very long time, so yeah, I'm excited. And I also have a little live update for you, so let's get started. Now, for this little boy or girl, I don't think that it gender identified as the others. I wanted to lay in a pool of mud, enjoying life, flat on the stomach. So that's why we are going to make the amateur a bit different than with all the other piglets. And dance around with it, apparently. Oh god. I just keep going, don't I? Anyway, since I've decided not to gender identify this little piglet, so let's call this little one for Oink. I feel like every piglet pack with respect for itself needs a member that's called Oink. So yeah, that's my reasoning behind the name. So while I'm sculpting little Oink, let's have a little talk. Let's have a life update. To recap, for those who don't know, I got blind in one eye and the doctors was afraid it was sclerosis, so they run me through a lot of painful tests. And now the test has come back. And my biggest fear became a reality. I do have multiple sclerosis. Thankfully, they caught it in such an early stage, so my prognosis is very good, but it's still sclerosis, guys. It still really sucks, I have to say. And not just that I have to quit smoking. Yeah, big shock. I'm a smoker. But just to cope with the thought that my own body is attacking itself is very hard, I have to say. I don't want to go into a lot of details speaking what sclerosis is and how it's going to affect me, especially because I don't know. Sclerosis is so unpredictable, which only makes it more scary, in my opinion. But I have had to rethink a lot of things in my life, including this channel's future, and I have decided to keep going. There is this Danish word called hygge, and you can't really describe it in English, but it is a feeling of comfort and joy, usually with friends or family. And my goal making this channel was to give a little of the Danish hygge. And right now, I really need that. I need to feel hygge. I need to feel some sort of normal again. And I hope that you will join me in this journey, trying to go back to normal, trying to find a little bit of happiness again. And speaking of happiness, I think that's quite enough of a life update, don't you? Let's get back to little Oink. So, what do we know about little Oink? Besides the fact that I took way too much time stroking those buns of his or hers. Well, we know it's the last piglet for a long time, so let's make its personality good, shall we? You see, just because Oink is in a pool of mud doesn't mean it's a dirty piglet. No. I think it's a self-caring piglet. that loves mud bath because it should be great for the skin. And when it comes to friends, I'm pretty sure that it is friends with every Piglet from the Piglet pack. But the best friend for little Oink is definitely little Oink. A little bit self-absorbed maybe, but that's okay because Oink's purpose in life is just to enjoy life. And that's okay, I think. Its favorite color is definitely green because we are in the spring month, and that's what I know about little Oink and its backstory. Now back to the sculpture. Now with the body and the face done, all I had to do was put on some ears and bend them in the correct position before I gave him a little tail, and then I could move on to the mud pool. Now while I'm doing that, this might be a good time to remind you guys that comment, like and subscribe definitely is an option that will make me very, very happy, and also should benefit you, because then you get to see a lot more of this, where I sculpt and tell stories and sometimes tales about my life. And I get to hang out with you guys, which is one of my favorite things in the world. Now, back to the actual sculpting. With the little Oink done, I went to work on the bottom, so to speak, the mud pool. And I make that base from a simple plaster base that I got from Nerdy Crafter, Not Another Crap kit. A really, really good kit, I have to say. But it wasn't quite the shape that I needed it to be, so here you see me cutting it up before I put on some baking ball on it and then some clay. Now I have to admit that landscaping and making bases that the figure can stand on is still fairly new to me, so you have to bear with me, it's not a masterpiece. But I did have a lot of fun experimenting and trying to make it as pretty as possible. But I had to say, I did do one smart thing though, and that was completely making the base and making the figure separately, so that I could paint it without worrying about some pink, the color that should never be spoken again, got on the grass, or some grass on the Piglet, so all this mess. So you can see me testing it out over and over again to make sure it fits, but I make them separately. It's a weird thing when you sculpt. Sometimes you find enjoyment in the most weirdest things. I thought that the most enjoyable thing about this sculpture would be the position I decided to put the Piglet in. But no, the most enjoyment I had was actually making the mud, as you see me doing here. Also, when there's mud on the Piglet, I had so much fun making all of that. And if you keep in mind that all my Piglets are in this cartoony style, I am actually very, very satisfied with how this little one turned out. Oink might be my favorite Piglet of them all, especially because I enjoyed so much making the mud. I have to admit that. After I cut the mud spots out and smoothed them as much as I could, I used clay softener on it, and I used clay softener like there was no tomorrow, because I wanted to be as drippy as possible and as smooth as possible. So yeah, I softened the out of that clay. But with all the mud spots in place, it was finally time for the painting. And if you have followed me at all, you know that painting especially of this color that should not be spoken of, is not my favorite thing in the world. Especially because it takes at least 5 layers of pink. But as I always say, persistence is the key. And when it was finally over, it was over. And I could continue with the color brown, as you see me doing here. There was a lot of brown on this little piglet, so I decided some grass had to be in order. And that's what I'm doing here. First I brushed on some glue before I took my homemade grass device that you should never make or never use because it's scary. And then I put on some grass. Before I took some tufts of grass to cover the bald spots. And then all I had to do was glue the little piglet on, and that was it for this sculpture and it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. I hope you like little Oink. I really do, but I'm also a little bit relieved that it's over with the piglets for now, I have to admit. But if you are not tired of piglets, why not click on the square to right, where you can see another little piglet get made. Until then, bye!